Okay, it's 4:44 on the clock, so I figured I'd start my video right now. Why do I have such an interest in that number? I will have to do a little research on what those numbers actually mean. But at any rate, I am out here again with my doggy. Hey, Gunner. Here, there he is. Okay. So, I guess first things first. Yesterday I posted a video, and looking back on that situation, and I wrote this down in the description of the video yesterday. It seemed like what that was a spiritual vaccination. My spirit guides, source, God, faced me with a virtual, for me in my particular world line. This is not something that actually happened to me, but it happened to somebody. And what it did was create a negative emotion in response to a negative thing. And then I had to address it. And with the help of Source, I did. And I'm here to tell you today I am most certainly feeling much better. And I guess the next time I come across something negative like that, I will be just a bit better prepared because I've been through it before. Kind of like a vaccination. You get a vaccination, you feel crappy. That's your immune system preparing to fight the thing you're being vaccinated against. And then as it happens, it resolves and you feel better. Seems like that's what happened. All right, well, today I thought I would try to take another crack at the quantum field. The quantum field as it is described in spiritual videos is like this all-pervading energy field from which all life proceeds, from which everything proceeds. We're all part of the quantum field. The quantum field is source, and we all proceed forth from source. And then there's the discipline of quantum field theory. The thing is that it is somewhat similar. Like I was saying in one of my other videos, a field is basically a way of describing space and time, anything with dimensions. And at any particular point in space and time, there is a value. Now, in science, it's going to be a position value, a momentum value, a spin value, a directional value, translational, and the type of field you're talking about and the type of mathematics you use to describe it depends on what is the observable quantity you are using the field to describe. Well, how does that relate to spirituality? Well, it's an all-pervasive field. It fills everything that we know about. 3 plus 1 dimensions, the 3 dimensions of space, the dimension of time. In string theory, there are extra dimensions in the Calabi-Yau manifolds, each of which exists at every point in our 3+1 dimensional manifold. And there are certainly other theories that make use of extra dimensions. Certainly there are extra dimensions in a mathematical sense. If you are talking about Hilbert space or Foch space, F-O-C-H space, there can be infinite dimensions. If you're talking about position, momentum, these Hilbert spaces are infinite dimensional. So we have the standard model and the acceptable scientific model of fields, and then we have the spiritual model. And I know that these models come together, and it is part of my mission to figure out how. And, well, of course, gravity figures in, right? My passion, my theory that I'm working on is, how does gravity fit in with the quantum field? And I will consider any and all sources of information to figure that out. Contemporary scientists and mathematicians look for a way to quantize the gravitational field. Einstein gave us a classical notion of the gravitational field. Well, can it be quantized? Well, I suspect it can, but not in the way that we're presently trying to do it. I've seen mention of the gravitational field being a tensor field with a graviton, one quantum of the gravitational field being a boson with spin value 2. I think that arose out of the original string theory notions. The spin value brings up the question of, well, what does this spinning quantity spin through, right? Well, it brings up the possibility of a mirror universe, that one unit of spin is in our universe, and then it spins through the mirror universe and back again. A spinner, for instance, has to spin twice before it comes back to its original self. It spins once and it's a mirror image of itself. It spins twice and it's back to its own self. So all these things are clues, right, as to the fundamental nature of all that is. And I lose my train of thought. Oh. Well, okay, another clue to the existence of the mirror universe is the Penrose diagram of a black hole. It seems that you can't draw that diagram without including, and this goes for the use of the Schwarzschild metric also, you can't draw it without creating a mirror universe. Far out. This is what I spend a lot of time doing. Stitching together these clues and trying to figure out what is the fundamental nature of reality on the tiniest scale. I thought I recalled what I thought was trying to say before, and that is that one can also use a conformal theory to create general relativistic volume elements at smaller and smaller scales until you get down to a volume element at the quantum scale. Three dimensions of space, one of time, at a tiny scale. Possibly at that point, at that scale, extra dimensions come into play. How does this thing behave? I mean, there's very little mass down at that scale to create any space-time curvature. And yet, I believe the curvature exists, even at that tiny scale. I believe that in summation or with integration, we can recreate classical gravity from what's going on at the quantum scale. And it hopefully, if I play my cards right, will be more than just an approximation. I'm going to walk a little bit to keep up with my dog. And the lighting's going to shift and everything, but right, the volume element at the quantum scale. I believe that it acts as a potential, like potential energy, right? Gravitation on a classical scale creates potential energy. You hold a ball up above the ground and don't let it go. That ball has potential energy. Well, the quantum scale, I think that the purpose of gravity is to create the potential energy term in the Hamiltonian. You know, the thing that is used to quantify energy, the mathematical expression used to quantify energy. And what do potentials do on a quantum scale? They tell you where a particular particle is likely to be in a position sense and where it is not likely to be. I think that we might gain some insight into quantum gravity by looking at quantum potentials in terms of the spherically symmetric potential well. Oh, there, that's more steady. Spherically symmetric 3D solution of the Schrödinger equation. Now adding that dimension of time, that's, see, there's so much to think about. But I think the role of gravity at the quantum scale is to provide a space, a constraint to where the photon can exist and where it is very unlikely to exist. And, you know, I think that it really comes down to gravity and the electromagnetic force. You know, in quantum field theory, there's a field for every different kind of particle. I guess my ambition is to somehow show that there are really only two fundamental fields: the electromagnetic field and the gravitational field. And that gravity partitions electromagnetism to then give rise to all the various particles, fermions, especially fermions. I'm pretty sure this applies to fermions. Bosons, not entirely certain about those. But to create a fermion, I believe the gravitational field will partition the electromagnetic field. The most simple case of this is the situation that creates an electron, and the situation that creates a quark. And I believe that there are a number of ways the gravitational field can divide up the electromagnetic field to create all of the fundamental particles. I would suspect that when it comes to quantum chromodynamics, the mathematics of it gets very complicated, just as it does for standard model quantum chromodynamics. Well, all right, so I managed to somewhat satisfactorily express the thoughts that I have on this subject. Very, technical stuff, right? And if you made it to the end of this video, wow. I commend you. Email me, because I'd like to hear what you think of these ideas. And if this has all been too technical for you, I'd love to explain it. And, in future videos, I think I will. But I'd love to explain it in ways that non-scientists could understand. And if there happens to be a scientist watching, I will look forward to hearing why you feel my ideas are shit. Because then that will help me to further modify and figure out how to express them. And also, in countering your argument, it may allow me to further advance my theory. So, okay. I will see you in the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.